SMT Nation, we back. Nation, I want to ask you all a question. When someone gets to set their goalpost and they tell you how they want to be evaluated and they don't show up and they don't provide what they said that they wanted to be evaluated by, how do you view them? How can you evaluate them on the thing they asked you to evaluate them on, but they can't show it? We have problems. This is a disconnect here, folks. All right, this video is going to be about Verizon and their revenues for Q1 2023. How'd they do? How does it compare to the rest of the industry? How should we be judging Verizon's performance? All right, so article from Dano, light reading. Link will be in the description. Also in the description is the real SMT Buy Me a Coffee link. If you want to support this channel, that's a great way to do it. You guys can use the link and keep the SMT caffeinated and motivated. Also, you could support our wireless partner, Mint Mobile. They will give you one of the best deals in the wireless industry. They just raised all the data allotments on all their plans, and they didn't even touch pricing. So you are getting, for the same exact price, additional gigs of data on all their plans. All right, that is unique in today's economic and wireless industry, I guess we'll say, current environment. People are taking stuff away. People are raising pricing, not Mint Mobile. So I stand with them as a wireless partner. Use the link that's in the description. You'll save money, and you'll be supporting the channel. All right, so Hans Vestberg, CEO of Verizon, wants to be judged on revenue, not customers. All right, that means he doesn't want to be evaluated on customer growth. Meanwhile, T-Mobile is rewarded for growth. AT&T has been rewarded for growth. But Verizon's kind of looking at it from a different angle. All right, what they want to be evaluated on is revenue. All right, and by revenues, we're talking like service revenues. Okay, so are the service revenues increasing? When looking at Verizon's first quarter results, we did not see accelerated revenues. Right? It's a challenging operating environment for mobile network operators. It's competitive, it's maturing, it's slowing. This is probably the wrong thing to say to be evaluated on something that is likely to shrink, right? Because it would be impossible to hit any type of growth metric. All right, so what Verizon did was they lost postpaid phone customers to the tune of 263,000. You can't lose that many customers and accelerate your revenue. It's just not going to happen. It's just math. It's just numbers. So if you don't have positive additions, how will you grow that revenue? And then at the same time, how do you accelerate free cash flow, which is what investors are looking for? In fact, that was the one thing that AT&T missed on, and the market crushed them. There was a sell-off of about 10 or 11%. And you can bet your bottom dollar, if it hasn't already happened, that T-Mobile is going to declare, right? And they probably already have when you're watching this. And if they hit on free cash flow, they're going to be rewarded because they also grow in customers. So they're going to hit all their marks. Now, Verizon, obviously a much bigger company. They move a little bit differently. We don't evaluate them the same. But Hans set the goalpost. He's the one who said, judge me and evaluate our performance based on these things. So I'm going to hold off and say, let's wait for the end of the year if that's what it requires. But last year, the same thing was being talked about. Premium upsell and revenue growth and margins, and it didn't happen. Losses in the consumer side hurt the bottom line. We saw deceleration or flatness in free cash flow. We saw revenues decelerating, trading premium customers and letting them go elsewhere to like big cable and AT&T and T-Mobile and other things, right? And we've seen losses in prepaid. Now, the one shining star for them is fixed wireless access. They would be wise to really aggressively market that. But if they were more competitive in wireless, they'd be winning more in fixed wireless access. They're hurting themselves there. I think the strategy is flawed. I'm waiting to see if Verizon corrects course, becomes more competitive wireless, so they can be more competitive in fixed wireless and home internet, because Verizon is crushing it in broadband. They need to focus on that. That will help their revenue. That will accelerate it. And that will help free cash flow too. Remember, they're spending a lot of money on the network. Fixed wireless access is the only thing right now that is specific to the C-band build-out, where they spent $50 or $60 billion. When it's all said and done, the spectrum at 40 plus billion, the early clearance, and then the upgrading of the network, right? Tower sites, crews, hardware, networking, software, firmware, vendor agreements, the whole thing. Backhaul upgrades to 10 gig fiber circuits. You just have to get the return. Don't forget they got $150 plus billion in debt. Let's not forget about that. All right, AT&T's got $180 plus billion, but it's besides the point. Monetize and win there. They just added like 397,000 fixed wireless access subs. That tells me if they were more competitive, they might do 450 or 500,000. They would be doing what T-Mobile does. Right? And T-Mobile gets rewarded with that growth because they're competitive in both segments. Wake up. Pay attention. Stop being so short-sighted. Right? I think they can do both things. I think they can grow a little bit, and that would benefit their fixed wireless access. It would give them more growth. I think they can move past 4 million subscribers in fixed wireless, and they could shoot past 5 and 6 million if they were more aggressive with their wireless combinations. Because remember, Verizon bundles the two and gives a discount for having both the wireless and the fixed wireless. It would make sense to consumers, but you got to compete on both sides. You got to compete in wireless to get some of those fixed wireless subs. What say you guys? What do you think? Sound off in the comment section below. You all the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.